Good afternoon, everyone. Laura Barker here with my cohort in crime, Dottie Scott, for our Wednesday Solopreneur resource tidbits and tips. And I could not be more excited for today's 15 minutes of fun because Dottie, who is an expert with all things digital, to be honest with you, is going to be sharing some really cool SEO tips and information that you can use to get more visibility. Is that a fair statement, Dottie?
It is. I'm so excited.
Yippee. What have you got for us today?
Lord, do you know what an idiom is?
Yeah, no.
Okay. It's a comparison, like a simile.
Oh,
And have you noticed recently, like in the last few months, that a lot of people are writing blog posts with all of these comparisons in it? Have you?
I do it myself.
Yes.
I, yeah.
So we might want to rethink this just a little bit. Okay, so those comparisons are great for our audience, which if that's your goal, go ahead and use them. If your goal for whatever you're writing is for it to get ranked on the search engines and bring you new clients, I call them gifts from Google, then we want to rethink our strategy a little bit. And here's why. My SEO mentor taught me this a couple months ago. And that is that the way Google or any search engine, so I say Google, it could be any search engine, they're just a computer. Laura, do you think they understand humor?
No.
Do you think they understand comparisons?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe. Do you think that a search engine can take the leap from whatever your main topic is to that comparison?
Unlikely, I'm thinking, but
Very unlikely. Very unlikely.
I'm not, unless we're going to go to call ChatGPT a search engine, I don't think we're
Yeah.
going to kind of,
And do you think a search engine has reasoning?
definitely not.
Definitely not. Correct. So the way it works is that search engines have created what they call entities. And they've cataloged in their massive databases everything they know about that entity. And when we use the word entity, we're not talking just businesses or just people. I mean, a lot of those are entities, but also just like concepts.
Okay.
So like search engine optimization would be an entity, and they would have all of these other keywords that are related to it in that bundle. And when they see writing on that topic, they're expecting to find whatever's in this bundle keywords for that pre-established entity.
Could you call an entity a category? Is it like that?
Could.
Just helps me
Could.
conceptually kind of.
So here's an example. Let's say I was writing an article on bounce rate. Do you know what bounce rate is, Laura?
I do indeed. It is when emails don't get delivered and you get from your CRM the little report that says your bounce rate is X because you sent this many and this many didn't make it.
You're almost proving my point because that is not the bounce rate I'm talking about.
Oh,
That is bounce rate. But in the world of search, a bounce rate is when someone comes to your website and immediately leaves. Like they didn't find what they were looking for. They bounced back to their search and they went to another listing,
yeah.
which sends a search engine a clue that your website was not useful. So a bounce rate is very important. And if I was writing an article on that and I compared a bounce rate to, let's say, a kangaroo bouncing around or a person bouncing on a trampoline or, the cute little Peter Rabbit tail bouncing down the bunny trail, however that thing goes.
Yeah.
I mean, for the reader, that could be a good visual for them to understand bounce rate. However, looking at it from a search point of view, like assuming I wanted this article to be ranked,
Mhm.
now the search engines are saying, okay, she's writing on bounce rate. We know that's part of SEO. It's part of this entity over here. Now all of a sudden there's Peter Rabbit, Cottontail bouncing down the bunny trail, which I know I don't have that right, but whatever.
It sounds good to me.
And so the people in it has an entity node for that set of key phrases.
Mhm.
They're not related. So a search engine isn't going to connect logically
Right.
this topic with this set of keywords.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yep.
what a search engine does is it goes through your text and it pulls out the keywords that it understands, the ones that are in its vast array of database memory. And it has its connections already drawn from one to another, to this, to that, within the category you're trying to rank. When you throw something in completely willy-nilly that has no relationship to the main topic, now it doesn't know what to do. So instead of ranking for bounce rate or ranking for a cute bunny bouncing down a trail or a person on a trampoline or whatever,
Mhm.
it does nothing because it's not going to put it in both. They're not related, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that actually brings up a question for me real quick.
Mhm.
So oh, can you be in two different buckets or entities at once?
Not really.
Okay.
And this brings up the question of what was the goal of the article? If you're writing an article, say on LinkedIn, it's not getting indexed in the search engines. Yes, you can make these comparisons all you want because it's for the person. See what I'm saying? When
Like,
you're writing for the person, and that comparison that you're doing is going to give them a visual in their head and make them understand what you're talking about, perfect. If your goal of whatever you're writing is to get ranked on the search engines for a certain topic, any comparison you make needs to stay in that lane. It can't be something completely different.
Mhm.
So, like, I have done this myself. So I have a book coming out tomorrow. Yay. It's all about different things that you can do outside of your website that link to your website. So the concept is the website is your hub, everything links in.
love
Well, I
that.
wrote a article and the comparison I used was an old bicycle wheel with the center being your website and all of the spokes is all the different things you can do that lead to your website.
Very cool.
I need to rewrite that after thinking this through because that is an article that I do want ranked on the search engines because it leads to purchasing my book.
Aha.
So therefore, I need to rewrite it myself. So this isn't, it's not something that you can just go and bam, fix. But if you're doing this and you want to be ranked, you want to rethink those comparisons.
Okay. So if I write one of my articles for my LinkedIn newsletter, instead of just blindly repurposing it on my blog, on my website, I really want to be mindful about reworking to put on my website so that it is going to get that SEO benefit.
If that's a goal, yes. Yes. Because on LinkedIn newsletters, the comparisons are great.
And they are indexed by LinkedIn.
But they're not indexed by Google.
So,
I think though.
so the collaborative articles are just FYI indexed by.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that was my tip number 1.
Okay.
We have 5 minutes left. I'll give you tip number 2.
We may have to do this again down the road. Expand it a little bit.
Did you know, Laura, that you can have more than one Google account?
I hadn't really thought about it, but I assume if I did think about it, I would think, yeah, you
Yeah, you can have as many as you want.
sure.
I have about 5. I
I
can have more than that.
I have more than that now. I have that many now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. On on one of my Google accounts, I don't really use it. It is set to be, for my drive anyway, set to be public. So everything on that drive can be indexed by Google. Google loves Google. They're very narcissistic.
No doubt.
And when you're using things that they offer, like Google Drive, they love it. And they actually come to Google Drives that are open to public, so want to think about this, and index everything that's in there. PDFs, images, articles, just anything, Google Sheets, all of that stuff. Most drives naturally or by default, they're set to private because most people don't want their stuff out on the internet, which is why I have a separate Google account with a public drive. And in that drive, I have all kinds of assets for my business.
Wow.
My logos, the images that I create for social media that are branded to me, articles that I've written that I've converted to PDFs, those same articles that are still in the whatever their Word version is, their docs, all in different folders, all of that stuff. It's all related to me. I've got lists of links that point to my website in there, in the Google Sheets, all of this stuff
Yeah.
that has been indexed, and Google sees the links and they follow them to different things.
Yeah.
I've linked all my different profiles together. I've just done a lot of work
Wow.
there, which is something anybody can do.
This is a
I
game
ask could.
people. I just want y'all to know that this is a total game changer because we can all do this and we won't have a massive file like Dottie has for a while, but we just start building it, right?
Well,
And
and the thing about that massive file that you say, that's 5 years worth of work. And it's and what Google loves, same thing for our websites, is to get more information. So to just dump everything in all at once, useful but not as useful as just adding every month, just adding something to it every month.
Yeah.
Because you're training them to come back.
wow,
You do that.
wow,
Same thing on your website. You add something every month, you're training it to come back, to look for more, to feed that monster.